I probably mentioned on this channel before. Recently, I went to Monaco, and I think I've said about my experience before when I was in that queue, standing in there waiting in line, listening to all the other British people going, "Gee, isn't this taking a long time? God, why it's taking so long? Why are we having to stand here? Look at all those other people going through, uh, you know, security, of course, those other people being people with European passports, being able to go through security, no problems whatsoever." And one of the things I've always said that the Remain campaign should have focused on was just that, just a picture of a long queue with, British passports this way, all EU passports this way, and someone just flying on through. That, I've always said, would have been a fantastic way of a piece of campaigning at the 2016 referendum. That is something to sort of think about when we can potentially get that back if we sort of want to sort of rejoin the EU. And I've always said that one of things like this, especially when you think that it was a lot of people think it was working class people who delivered the Brexit vote, but no, when you actually dig into the numbers, when you dig into the sort of the figures, it was more the middle class people that really delivered Brexit. And who goes on these holidays to Europe most? Well, it's the middle class in the UK. And of course, they are already fed up of having to stand in the queue at the when they get off the plane and they're seeing, their fellow Europeans just glide on through. They're like, well, why can't we have that? Why can't we have that back? And they're suddenly reminded, oh my, this is what we voted for. And the phrase comes in, be careful what you wish for. So before we get into talking more about this, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much for all the support you guys show. And of course, there's the Pony Club down below as well, and the YouTube thank you button as well, if you'd like to support the channel that way. So, as always, let's crack on, shall we? So, borders. A lot of people, certainly back in 2016, were very much in denial about the fact that what a lot of these Brexiteers were asking for was essentially for borders to be put back up and to be treated as a third country. And that is exactly what these hardcore Brexiteers have argued for, what was argued for at the referendum, without a shred of irony, by saying, oh, don't worry, we would leave, and yet things would be exactly the same. But by the way, we're going to make sure that we get our sovereignty back and we take back control. And what those things meant was that there are now borders. There are now checks, which we asked for. And if you think it is hard now, wait until we get some of those EU entry and exit things, which are going to make traveling into Europe even more onerous, because not only are you going to have to provide fingerprints, you're also going to have to provide facial biometric scans as well. So think how long extra that is going to add to your time in that passport queue. I know certainly whenever I've tried to use the new passport control gates and it sort of scans your passport and scans your face, never seems to accept mine. Never has done once so far yet. So I already know I'm probably going to end up spending a long time in that queue. So I apologize if any in the future and anyone's ever behind me in the queue, you're probably in for a long wait. So these queues are only set to go worse. And yet this is what exactly Brexiteers asked for, to be treated as a third country. And of course, it's not just passengers. Soon it is to be goods, because this October, although I've said I am highly skeptical that the government will actually bring these in, because the food companies are already saying that these checks in total are going to add like £400 million to like the cost of the food industry, to try and cost. So it's going to drive inflation up. It's going to drive the cost of food up as well. And now that these checks are in place, do you think Europeans are going to want to send food here? That means you're going to have massively reduced supply lines, which is going to increase the cost of food and inflation even more. These are not going to be good, but we have to have them because what have we been seeing recently? I've talked about before, there is a massive meat scandal going on. Why? Because these checks have not been put in place. We have no clue what's coming into the country. And only very rarely have we caught sort of described in the articles, you may remember, as suspicious meat. And they were only caught because they were suspicious. Who knows what else has come in because we haven't been checking. Now, of course, back when we were in the EU, it was fine. We sort of knew what was going on because we were all following the same rules. We were all singing from the same hymn sheet. So there was a level of protection. The thing is, we've now left that protection. And it was kind of funny yesterday where you saw Jacob Rees-Mogg being absolutely destroyed, saying, oh, what about these checks that are going sort of increase through? And he said, well, no, I'm going to argue against them. But here's the thing. You have to have these checks sooner or later. The government has said at the moment, those checks are coming in this year. Now, I've said before, I'm highly skeptical. I am very highly skeptical because the government knows the chaos that will result when they bring in these checks. Will they bring them in? Well, remember, last time they were like literally a couple of weeks away before they suddenly decided, actually, no, we're not going to bring these checks in, said Jacob Rees-Mogg. We're going to leave them because, these checks would cause untold chaos. So will they bring them in? Won't they bring them in? Time will tell. But I'm highly skeptical that they will actually bring them in. That's for sure. But anyway, what about passports and travellers? Because it does look like Rishi Sunak is now trying to go to the EU and try to do a deal on these. But the EU has already turned around and said, well, look, if you want a deal on passports, if you want a deal so that, British tourists can travel more easily like we used to, then you've got to accept European identity cards as like a valid form of identification to be able to pass a border. Now, will the UK government accept those? I highly doubt it. I don't think they will. But remember, you've got to remember in Europe, identity cards are like the normal thing. They're a norm in Europe, whereas the UK has resisted the idea of identity cards for years because I don't know, 1984, whatever. Pick your conservative excuse for cry freedom and whatever nonsense they normally cry about these identity cards. Will they accept them? I don't know. But to be honest, I think Rishi Sunak might have to. Because I'll tell you now, middle-class England will not accept this absolute delays that are going to come in when we're having to have fingerprints done, have facial scans done. Yeah. All of a sudden, once people... if you know and you've been traveling and you can sense the frustration when you're standing in that queue, like I say, I'm off to Bucharest in Romania at the end of this month, and oh boy, we're going to see once again that frustration in that queue again. But yeah, if you think that frustration is only going to build, yeah. Good luck. Good luck trying to convince people that Brexit was a good idea after going on holiday, feeling that they've lost a section of the holiday after standing so much time in that queue. Yeah. Good luck, guys. But remember, this is what you voted for. This is what the Brexiteers wanted. But now they're telling us, oh, that's not what we wanted at all. This is not the Brexit we wanted. Gosh. Here we are once again in that same argument. But hey, there you go. So As always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button on your way out. And like I say, leave a comment down below. Let me know how much you're looking forward to these checks coming in, or potentially, in the case of goods, not probably coming in, because I am very skeptical that they will come in, to be honest. But as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.